Good morning, everyone. Okay, so I have been meditating for about an hour, and I wanted to share this with you, so please forgive the bedhead, but I wanted to share this with you before I forgot. I won't forget, but I didn't want to lose the important detail. Now, I'm just going to get some water here. As I was meditating, I was listening to my breathing sounds, and I was focused on the dancing and dazzling lights behind my eyes, as that is showing you your aura and leading you to the throne room of God, the Holy Spirit. And I never went through this before, in the way of I was going through the layers of, how the Bible talks about, or Christians say that there are levels of heaven. Well, I was taken to different levels in heaven, in the way of I was shown scenarios of maybe things that I wanted or things that could happen, and I was hearing things. I was having an auditory experience, and I heard the word 25, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not a voice I recognize. So no, I'm not going to be distracted. I'm going to stay on where I want to go. I want to meet Jesus at the throne room of heaven. I want to. And so then I saw another scenario. I saw kind of like a being with a draconian arm, and he was like making candy, and I'm like, no, that's not what I want. And I just like, and normally I let my thoughts distract me. Normally I have these ruminating thoughts that just send me in all areas, in all directions, and I end up following those thoughts, or I end up falling asleep. I was able to stay focused, and that's what I'm so excited about. I stayed focused. Yeah. So in this time of meditation, I saw myself as a light being and an angel, and I felt the white light coming from me, and just seeing myself with wings and just going out from me and going and gathering God's people to me. As God told me a long time ago, reach out to the remaining house of the Lord and Jesus will show up. That's why this channel exists. That's why I do what I do. I help, I write stories, I write biblical Bible studies, I write on narcissism, I'm always writing on how you can help yourself heal yourself of trauma by understanding what trauma is, understanding the enemy that was put into your life, and understanding who you are as a divine being. I'm so excited because what was shown to me was I didn't reach the throne room because this distracted me, and this is, I guess I'm just going to say that this was the teaching that I needed to see and I needed to learn. I saw my ego as an underdeveloped fetus born, and it automatically reminded me of, because I saw myself, I was unrecognizable. I didn't recognize my being, but I knew it was me. But I also knew that it was somebody that I used to know, my chihuahua called Copper. I have on my nose here 2 scars, 2 teeth marks on my nose, because the day I brought Copper home from his family, he bit me on the nose, and my ex wanted to leave Copper on the side of the road and just ditch him. And I said, no, this was my fault. I got too close. And for 2 weeks, and I've shared this story with you guys before, for 2 weeks, I allowed myself to really get in touch and see Copper for who he is. I didn't let myself dictate to this dog what I wanted this dog to do. I allowed myself to get down on this level. Literally, I sat on the floor and just watched him and let him interact with me if he wanted. But I was just observant. I watched the mannerisms. his body language, the mannerisms, his language, his facial expressions, the way he perked up his ears, what made him scared, what made him excited, how he perked up his tail or put his tail down, what he looked like when he was eating. And then I gave him a safe space to help him feel safe and feel like he could let down his guard and feel like he trusted us. So in my meditation, I'm looking at this fetus that was me, but the eyes were the bulgy nature like a chihuahua. And this fetus was all full of fluid, like it had just been birthed out of the womb, and it was still full of, just natural fluids. And I'm looking at this creature and I see it look at me. It doesn't recognize me, but I recognize it. And I felt in this meditation that this creature was my ego, was the fearful nature of who I am. And I have to learn to nurture that. I tell you that I call my ego an a-hole because my ego beats me up so bad. My ego just tells me things that, I'm not capable of this and maybe God doesn't love me. I mean, it's not so bad anymore, but I've had that. I've been on a quest to find God, and some days where I can't feel him or I hadn't felt him in the past, I'd be like, God, if you don't love me, then just let me go. I've actually said that. He never let me go. But in this meditation today, I was given, just a download. It was like immediate knowledge of who this creature represented. And it was like, this creature is you as a fetus, this undeveloped child. And I was a premature child. I was born preemie. And my mom didn't want me. And all of a sudden I felt compassion for this little creature. That's what our ego is, an undeveloped or an underdeveloped version of ourselves who is rooted in fear because it hasn't learned to trust. And God shared this with me, this download that I had 2 dogs. Over the course of 12 years, I had 2 dogs, a Chihuahua who was 2 years old, and my Mugsy, who was who was a border collie, golden retriever cross. And that dog, Mugsy, he was my protector. So was Copper, but Copper he didn't like people, and he wasn't developed in his mind to be so trusting. And so in this meditation, God shared with me that my dogs represented the 2 sides of myself, my loving side and my fearful side. And my loving side and my fearful side, my 2 dogs, we're good friends. So I'm encouraging you to see the spiritual side of your life and see what your life is spiritually trying to teach you through the people in it, through the scenarios that you go through, and those loving animals who are your guardian angels. Mwah.